Please stand. Kindly lead the prayer, Miss Rizafe. Amen. So good morning, everyone. Please take your seats. So how was your day? Good. Now, I'm going to check your attendance. So make sure that you are in your respective seats. If not, I will mark you absent. So there's no absent for today. So give yourselves a round of applause. Now class, settle down yourselves and keep quiet. So and before we proceed to our main topic for today, let us first read our objectives. Everybody read. So later, we will discuss it further. But before that, let us have a review of our past lesson. Okay, so what is our topic last meeting? Anyone? Yes, Michael. Very good. So our topic last meeting is all about The Cone of Experience by Edgar Degas. So to give you a hint about our topic in this morning, let us have first a short activity. And this activity is called Fill in the Blanks. So all you need to do is to guess the given words by putting the missing letters. Any questions? Clarification? So if there's none, let us start. So the first word that you must guess is this. So what is the correct answer? Very good. Next. So the answer is very good. How about this? So the answer is very good. How about this? You guess it right. And the last. And the answer, very good. So thank you for the participation, class. Now, who among you here has an idea on what is our main topic for today? Yes, Miss Joy. Very good. So our topic for today is teaching visual symbols. So the first visual symbol that a teacher can use is drawing. So this must be one of the essential skills that a teacher ought to possess in order to be understood. So it helps a teacher a lot if he or she are capable of doing simple freehand sketching. So these are the examples of drawing. Next is the cartoons. So this is another useful visual symbol that can bring novelty to teaching. So a perfect cartoon needs no caption. So why? Because a perfect cartoon itself, a student can easily understand the message or the content just by looking through it without any caption. So for example, as you can see in this picture, there has no any caption, but we can determine that this man is mad just because of its grumpy face. So next is the sources of cartoons. So where can we find cartoons? Very good. So you can easily collect cartoons for instruction, so they appear often in newspapers and magazines.
But before we proceed to our next topic, let us first the activity entitled Guess and Wise. You will be going to guess what is the picture and why it is important in teaching. Are you guys ready? Okay, first picture. Very good. It is graph. There is a need graph in teaching with visual symbols to understand the relationship in the data, and it helps to present data that are too numerous or complicated to be described. The next picture, Raise your hand if you want to answer. Okay, class? Very good. So what is this picture? Very good. It is maps. Maps is important in teaching with visual symbols because it helps the students and all the people where we are and how to get where we want to go. And it also put the real world into smaller scale. The third picture, yes, Jamaica. Very good. It is chart. Chart is important in teaching with visual symbols because it represents the relationship among individual with an organization. The next picture is very good, Mark. It is diagram. Diagram is a need in teaching with visual symbols because it shows the interconnection with its parts. It shows the origin and development and the chronological flows, which the student can easily understand of what is the topic or the subject matter all about. Very good, class! I'm so glad with your active participation. So now, please arrange yourself and please be quiet. Okay? And listen to me. So how did you find the activity? Yes, Margie? Very good. You find it interesting. So, what do you think is the connection of our activity to our lesson for today? Yes, Araceli? Very good. It may be all about how to use cartoons in instruction. Without further ado, let's start with our lesson. Where to use cartoons in instructions. There are 5 ways. Drawing, second is graph, third is maps, fourth is chart, and fifth is diagram. So first, drawing. This is commonly called comics or comics strip by Edgar Dale in 1969. It is good for educational or for entertainment as well. Where to use drawing? So we can obtain it from newspaper, books, or magazines. So why stripe drawing is included in teaching with visual symbols? Because it catches the attention of the learner, especially for those students who are fun with drawings. For example, my nephew, which is grade 3 student, she is very fun with drawing, and she learned best when their teacher uses drawing as instructions or materials for their lessons.
Visual symbols will be made meaningful if we can use them as summaries of our direct experiences or our own rich indirect experiences. The second type of visual symbols is graphs. Okay, class, in your own knowledge, what is graphs? Okay, Miss Hannah. Okay, very good. A graph can be defined as pictorial representation or a graph that represents or values in an organized manner. The points on the graph often represent the relationship between two or more things. Here, for instance, we can represent the data given below. This type and the number of school supplies used by students in class on a graph. We begin by counting each supply and representing the data in particular colors in a systematic order in a table. And then we present and we use this bar graph. The number of each of the supplies is represented with bars. The more the height of the bar, the more is the number of supply of item used. Who among you here knows about the types of graphs? Okay, Miss Angela. Okay, very good. That's good. The types of graphs are line graphs, pie charts or graphs, bar graphs, and pictorial charts. First is line graphs. Line graphs are powerful visual tools that illustrate trends in data over a period of time or a particular correlation. For example, one axis of the graph might represent a variable value while the other axis often displays a timeline. For example, the interest of digital marketing over the time can be visually shown with ease through the use of line graph. Simply plot each number of searches along the timeline to view the trend. And that is line graph, class. Next is pie graphs. Do you have idea about pie graphs, class? Okay, that's good, very good. Pie graphs are the simplest and most efficient visual tool for comparing parts of a whole. For example, a pie can a pie chart can quickly and effectively compare various budget allocations, population segments, or market research questions responses. And that is pie graphs. Next type of graphs is bar graphs. Bar graphs or a bar chart or a bar graph is a chart or graph that represents the categorical data with rectangular bars with heights or lengths proportional to the values that they represent. The bars can be plotted vertically and horizontally. A vertical bar chart is sometimes called a column chart. From a bar chart, we can see which groups are highest or most common and how other groups compare against the others. And the last is pictorial chart. So a pictorial chart, or also called as pictogram or a pictograph or a picture chart, is a visual representation of data that uses pictograms, icons, or pictures in relative sizes to highlight the data patterns and trends. Pictorial charts are common in business, communication, or news articles to visually compare the data. Okay, and those are the types of graphs. Again, what are the types of graphs? Okay, very good class. You understand a lot of our topic today. So graphs in teaching with visual symbols are very essential, in which the students can be able to compare the data is given, visualize and clear representation of things and relations between those data which being presented. It is a need to integrate and put some graphs just like in math subjects to understand more the concepts, ideas, and data for students to have a meaningful and direct experiences of things and data in the classroom.
Let's go to the maps. So what is maps? Maps is a representation of the surface of the earth or some parts of it. And let's go to the kinds of map. First is the physical map. Combines in a single projection data like altitude, temperature, rainfall, precipitation, vegetation, and soil. Next one is the relief map. Has three-dimensional representation and show contour of the physical data of the earth or parts of the earth. And the third one is the commercial or economic map. Is also called product or industrial map since they show land areas in relation to the economy. And the fourth one is the political map. What is political map? Political map gives detailed information about country, provinces, cities and town, road and highways, ocean, rivers, and lakes are the main features of the most political. And let's go talk about the map language. So first is the scale. Show how much actual Earth's surface represented by the given measurement of the map. The scale must be shown so that the map reader can use distance and area shown on the map measuring or figuring of the real distance of areas of the Earth's surface. On some maps, scale is not shown graphically. In order to scale is express words in figures. Next is the symbols. Usually, a map has legend that explain why each symbol mean. Next is the color. The different color of the map are the parts of the map language. What color represent by the bodies of water? What about contour of the earth and railroad, highway, and other cultural features? The last one is geographic grids. The entire system of these grids lines are called grid lines. These grid lines are called meridian and parallel. A meridian is a north and south pole line. Parallel are lines drawn around globe with all points along each line with equal distance from the pole. Longitude is the distance of degrees of the place east and west of the prime meridian. Latitude is the distance degrees of place north, south, and equator.
So good day everyone. I am Almarie Simiao and I am tasked to discuss to you the topic which is charts. So what is chart? Chart defines as it is a diagrammatic representation among individuals within on organizations. So a chart represents for data visualization in which the data or the information are presented through using different symbols such as bar charts and etc. So there are 7 types of charts. These are time chart, tree or stream chart, flow chart, organizational chart, comparison and contrast chart, Pareto chart, and last is Gantt chart. So let us discuss first the time chart. A time chart that presents data in ordinal sequence. It is used to show standard times in different parts of the world in relation to a specific period in a specific location. As what time chart are useful for documenting any form of changes because it provide an easy follow timeline and help audiences to understand from the past and current trends because of the chronological order of the time and dates. So second is tree and stream chart. It depicts development, growth, and change by beginning with a simple course with spread out into many branches. So T chart begins with one central item, branches into others, and keep branches until the line of inquiring that started with the central item is exhausted. With its branching moves, the tree charts encourages you to switch from the general to the particular in a systematic manner. The example in this chart is family tree, where in creating this chart helps your thoughts from generalities to details in step-by-step way. Next is flow chart. So what is flow chart? It is a visual way of showing a process from beginning to end. It is a simply graphical representation of steps wherein you can see the example in this image shows that flow chart typically depicts the steps as different types of boxes with arrows linking them in the proper order. So, as you can see, this is an example of flow chart. So, flow chart is important because it helps to clarify complex processes. So, next is organizational chart. It shows how one part of the organization relates to other parts of the organization. Organizational chart is a diagram that displays a reporting or relationship hierarchy. The most frequent application of an organizational chart is to show the structures of a business, government, and other organization. Another is organizational chart have a variety of uses and can be structured in many different ways. So, organizational charts assist in demonstrating consistent reporting processes for all of the school and company organization. It lays out a plan for how the work will be performed as well as the steps that must be taken to ensure that this knowledge is shared with the appropriate students and people in the industry. So next is comparison and contrast chart. It shows similarities and differences used to assess students in describing the similarities and differences between two objects or ideas. Following the completions of this guide, the information gathered could easily be turned into a classroom discussion or writing subject. It is important also because it highlights key details, making abstract concepts concrete and reducing uncertainty between similar concepts. Next is a Pareto chart. Is a chart that shows the occurrence of defects and their overall effect. It may be used to identify the defects should be prioritized in order to achieve the greatest overall change. It is also a bar chart because bars' lengths denote frequency or expense, and they're arranged with the longest on the left and the shortest on the right. This is visually illustrates which scenarios are more important in this manner. And lastly, the Gantt chart. Gantt chart. A Gantt chart is a visual representation of a project's timeline. It's a kind of bar chart that displays the start and finish dates of various projects. Elements such as finances, milestones, assignments, and dependencies. A Gantt chart is a project management tool that can help with the preparation and scheduling of projects of all types, but it's especially helpful for simplifying complicated projects. So that would be all my report, and thank you for listening.
Visual teacher is an educator who embraces and models full spectrum visual literacy. The visual teacher understands the effects of visual stimulation on brain development and utilizes imagery where appropriate to enhance learning. Good evening, everyone, especially to you, sir. I am Guru Giselle, and my assigned task is to discuss about diagram. Now, class, in your own understanding, what is diagram, and give a specific example? Yes, Miss Liza? Okay, very good. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Francis? Okay, thank you. Class, all your answers are correct. If we talk about diagram, it is a graph, chart, drawing, or plan that explains something by showing how the parts relate to each other. For example, the chart showing how all the departments within an organization are related. So chart is an example of the chart that's showing the organization of the department. Now let's go to the three types of diagram. Class, who among you here have familiar about the three types of diagram? Kindly stand. Yes, Mr. Kian. Give at least one type of diagram. Okay, thank you. Another? Yes, Miss Michelle. Do you have an idea? Okay, very good. And the last type? Yes, Miss Joel. Mr. Joel? Okay, very good. So, The three types of diagram, namely the affinity diagram, tree diagram, and the last is the fishbone diagram. Now, let's have first the affinity diagram. When we say affinity diagram, it is a tool that gathers large amounts of language, data, ideas, opinions, issues, and organizes them into groupings based on their natural relationships. The affinity process is often used to group ideas generated brainstorming. An example of an affinity diagram is the education system indicators. Let's go to the second type of a diagram. What is the tree diagram? Class, in your own understanding, what is a tree diagram, and give example. Yes, Mr. John Lloyd. Okay, very good. Another one. Yes, Miss Lady Hart. Okay, very good. A tree diagram is a new management planning tool that depicts the hierarchy of tasks and subtasks needed to complete an objective. So, the last type of a diagram is a fishbone diagram. When we say fishbone diagram, it is also known as Ishikawa diagram or cause and effect diagram. It is a tool used to visualize all the potential causes of a problem in order to discover the root causes. So, the fishbone diagram helps one group these causes and provides a structure in which to display them. Okay, class, since we have done our discussion, any clarification and violent reaction? Okay, since none, I hope you learned from our discussion today. Bye, class. See you next meeting, and bye-bye. Keep safe and God bless.